So when you hire an agent, you really want to hire an agent that's going to be responsive, not just to you, but also to other agents, because they're trying to sell your house. So let me tell you exactly what went on recently when I put in an offer to a house. I'm Casey Jenkins with Agreelity, and let's talk about why you want a responsive agent. So I took my buyer to go see this house. He loved the house. He thought it was the perfect house for him. It needed a little bit of work, and it had been, off the market once, under contract, and it had come back on. So we were like, ooh, the seller's probably willing to make a deal. They probably want to get out of this because they've had this for so long. And by the time we saw it, they had moved out. So they're at least paying a rent or a mortgage somewhere else and this mortgage. So we write an offer. I send it off to the agent, and I hear nothing. Called the agent 3 times, texted the agent 3 times, emailed the agent twice, and I have got crickets. And I sent this off around 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's not like it was super, super early. And it wasn't until 4 o'clock that afternoon that I finally got an answer via text message that said, I got your offer. I was like, fantastic, let us know what your clients think so that we can get going. Well, next day comes, offer was expiring at 9 p.m. the next day. Next day comes and I'm back to crickets. I reach out to their team lead, still nothing. Like literally, I am trying to get this agent so we can make a deal and we can get this under contract and get going, and nothing is going on. I finally get an email 4 or 5 o'clock the next day that said, my clients aren't accepting your offer. They didn't even counter, and we didn't ask for much. We went about $5,000 under ask price and said, hey, we want $5,000 in closing costs, which is pretty normal in today's market for a house that's been sitting a while. And they just said, nope, we don't want your offer, like period, the end. And I email back and I'm like, hey, what about a counter? Text her back, what about a counter? Like, counter us, we'd love to chat. I've never heard back from her, ever. And the house is still on the market. Hasn't been sold. They didn't have another offer. And so the moral of that story is when you're hiring an agent, ask what their working hours are. Do they work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.? Do they work multiple hours a day on just real estate? Or is this a second job for them? Because if this is a second job, a lot of times you're not going to hear back, and I'm not going to hear back until 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when they get off their first job, because they can't work their real estate job during their first job. And a lot of times as an agent that's a full-time agent that's moving and shaking and selling lots of houses, we're doing most of our work 8 to 5 when we're talking with other agents. We're doing a lot of our negotiating 8 to 5 when we're talking to other agents. The other moral of the story is make sure you have an agent that's responsive, because my client could have been like, hey, offer expired, peace. I don't want to talk to them anymore. I'm good, which is pretty much essentially what my client wanted to do. I talked him into, hey, let's just wait a little bit longer. See if something happens a little bit longer, because he had a second house that he wanted to write an offer on, and he really liked him, wanted to get under contract on one of the 2 of them. So when you're sitting down with an agent, ask him, what are your work hours? Ask him, is this your full-time job? Or do you have another job and this is a part-time job? And then ask him, how are you going to communicate not only with me, but with other agents as well? And how quick are you on that communication? And if you're out of town and you're on vacation, what is your backup plan? Or do you answer your emails while you're out of town? These are all things that make it so you can get your house sold and you can get it sold quickly in for top dollar. And the other big thing to ask them is, hey, when we get an offer, if we don't like it, what do we do with it? Because if you just come back to me and say, nope, we don't want that, like we're not accepting it, and you're not opening that line of negotiation, like you're letting an offer slip through. Even if it's a crazy lowball offer, we can still do some negotiations and say, hey, it's too low. We really want this, and try to bring them up. I've done that for the last 3 offers I've put in. The last 2 offers that have come in my inbox for my clients, for my sellers, we've just opened up lines of communication and said, hey, we're not good with this, but we're good with this, and we've negotiated and gotten the best deal for everybody. And so those are big, huge pieces to ask and get your house sold. Otherwise, your house is going to be like that house, and it's going to be sitting on the market for 90 days. Somebody's going to write an offer on it. They're going to say no, and you're still going to be sitting on the market where they could have been under contract and we could have been on our way to closing. So that's the moral of my story. If you've got any other questions, you want to know why we should be so communicative and why you should hire a full-time agent, love to sit down and chat with you. Give me a call, shoot me a text, and don't forget to like and subscribe.